Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Good morning, campers. How's everybody doing? Greetings, greetings, greetings. I am Tom Connors. We have Andre with us this morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's the end of yet another week. And I'm still high from Deadpool and Wolverine. It was that good. The more I think about it, the better it gets.
Yeah, I've really had some thoughts about it, and a lot of interesting conversations with a couple of people who weren't big fans, but yeah.
So yeah, speaking of bigger fans, we don't have any other big fans or big anti-fans or whatever to talk about just yet here. But you got the two of us. We'll see who else is going to join us as we go live here. But we're glad to see you all joining us. Please, everyone, smash that like. Let everyone know that we are indeed live. We got Paul Probus is here. Jill Powers, the River Daughter, is here. SB 1997 is here. Kaladin 910 is here. Coffee Lover is here and has been a member for 19 months, which is awesome. Glad to have you and to see you here. And Marks 47 is here. Danny TV is here, and Daryl Brewer is here, swinging that wrench along with a few others. So watch out in the chat. But
indeed,
do smash that like. Let everyone know.
Surprise Culture's not here already.
Well, maybe he's busy.
Coming today.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
He didn't tell me. You never know. But anyhow, welcome everybody. We got a few things to discuss today. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, a lot of Deadpool Wolverine stuff. Kind of just like a potpourri of sorts, I guess. But yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll even jump over to Rumble if we got time to talk some Olympic news.
Yeah, maybe. We shall see.
If we get that far. But let's see what you guys are talking about already. We got Packin' Protons in the house. How you doing, Packin' Protons? Sends it 5 and says one quick super chat as I wait for my new credit card to come in. Yeah, I heard about that. It got hacked. So hopefully that gets all taken care of for you as soon as possible and as painlessly as possible. Says, do you think Disney will retire Kennedy before the lawsuit so it doesn't damage Disney? I don't think it'll matter one way or the other. So no, I don't think they will.
Yeah. And here's the thing, it's going to damage Disney no matter what. I do not think that they'll ever actively retire Kathleen Kennedy. She'll be leaving when she's good and ready to leave. And the lawsuit is against the company. And then you have individuals who are named as witnesses. But just because you get rid of them doesn't mean that the company suddenly is free of responsibility for any damages. So it wouldn't make any difference whatsoever. Other than that Bob Iger could hide behind her and say, she did it. It was her and Chapek. Which I honestly wouldn't put it completely past him to do. But yeah, we'll see as this thing progresses. It's still likely the better part of another year into the future before we get to the trial itself. But that should be fun. That should be fun. And no, I do not believe for 1 second that this is something that's going to be settled away, because everyone knows that Gina Carano isn't in this for settlement money. She's in it for exposing what's going on. I mean, that's certainly why Elon Musk is in this.
Well, that and they destroyed her career on top of it all. I mean, yeah, money would be nice, but her
But they
name has
can
been
but they can get
besmirched. She's
money
been
by simply
blacklisted.
exposing what's going on.
She's been blacklisted and such. I mean,
Yeah.
There's just 101 reasons why she would not want to settle. So I would not be expecting a settlement unless Disney and which she said, unless Disney gives her everything she asked for. Which, yeah. We'll see how that rolls. Like you said, it's going to be a long wait as they go through the process of everything, because Disney's going to fight each and every bit of, discovery and witnesses and such. So we'll have to see. But thank you for the super chat, and hopefully you get all that figured out, Peck and Protons. We got Ruby Hoove gifting a membership. Thank you for that. Are we going to be doing something for the members this weekend, Andre, or is that probably sometime
We are
next
not
week?
going to be doing anything for the members until next weekend. Next weekend we'll be doing something, but this weekend I am otherwise occupied.
Got ya. We got Mark 47, who's been a member for 39 months. Holy crap, Oli, that's a long time. And Dr. Long Dongler sending in £1.99 with a thumbs up to remind you to pound that like button for us. That helps the algorithm here at the channel. And that, for now, catches us up on the YouTube and Rumble side of things. So let's get into some news. Deadpool and Wolverine's having a lot of success, breaking all sorts of R-rated and regular weekly records so far. And it's poised to land somewhere in the vicinity of $1 billion this weekend.
Which is very well earned. I'm very happy to see that level of success, and I hope it continues. I hope that this sends such a strong message that there is absolutely no way to ignore it, try as they might.
Yeah, well, the messages surrounding the movie are
There's a few of them.
Yeah, for the most part, fans are enjoying it. Then you have a certain community, let's say, or at least a group of journalists who claim to be representing a certain community, going after the movie. Now, I don't know how much you've kept up with this so far, but basically, the movie's being called homophobic over its gay jokes. Which there is some gay jokes in it, but I thought they were all pretty much just normal Deadpool style jokes to me. I didn't really think it was out of the ordinary, but
I would even take it one step further and say that those were normalizing, non-offensive jokes, where homosexuality is being treated as nothing to raise your eyebrows about at all. You're just having like fun with it. I mean, in a society where you basically want to normalize and just like project ain't nothing wrong with that, then this is exactly the kind of movie that you want, and this is exactly the kind of humor that you want, which leads me to think that the people making these kinds of objections are looking for something to be offended by. And if they were to ever get the power to rule anything, yeah, boy, there would be division and hatred across population groups like you'd never seen before.
Well, and of course, a lot of people are crying, that that it's even worse because Deadpool's pansexual, right, in the comics. Which, for those who don't know what that means he'll fuck anything. So, yeah.
Animal, plant, or mineral. So, yeah.
And vegetable, because they put out the least amount of struggle.
Exactly.
So yes. And specifically one that really went after it was the guy from The Guardian. Let me bring up that one here, because that was hilarious. I had that here. Where'd it go? Because this guy is even claiming gay baiting on top of it all. This is the one I sent you. But even Pink News and a bunch of the other gay outlets have been coming out about this. Yeah. So this they says alleged pansexuality is queer bait, and it turns it into a punchline. Well, everything's a punchline to Deadpool.
Yeah. You know what that tells me, though? That they're freaked out because these are the exact same people that always would be championing things like the Acolyte and the Rings of Power and the Marvels and Madam Web and everything else that reeks of some kind of SJWism and anything that subverts traditional entertainment. That's what all of these people are in favor of. And here is a movie that doesn't have any of that, and the audience are rejoicing and flocking towards it. Worse than that, this movie does exactly what you're supposed to do. It doesn't say anything bad about the gay population in any way, shape, or form. On the contrary, it normalizes it by making gay jokes. You even have that gay couple in it. You have like that chick from the Deadpool movies and her girlfriend. I mean, that's all
Yeah.
there. Treated
Well, and clearly that guy who works in
normal.
the TVA is gay too.
Yeah,
One that
indeed.
Deadpool's picking on.
And isn't like Al, that old woman, isn't she gay as well? Or am I imagining now?
That I don't know, but I mean, I've never seen her with a man or a woman for that matter. I mean, she's never seen a man or woman.
Well, she may be asexual, which well, true, but yeah, but she may be asexual, which also is in the LGBTQIAP plus whole thing. The rest there, right?
Kibble Smith. No, this is the guy who's. This is Paul. This isn't Paul Tassi. This is.
Well, it may as well have been.
Yeah, may as well have been. Who is this guy? I forgot it here. It's I don't even have it written here. We just got his stupid face. Guy Lodge, I guess is his name.
Yeah, Guy Lodge. Yeah, that's the one.
I thought maybe they were just he's feeling personally taunted, evidently.
Evidently he is. Like, it reminded him of when he was in the schoolyard and the other kids were bullying him, apparently calling him gay. That must be a very traumatizing thing, because Paul Feig had exactly the same thing. And wouldn't you know, he grew up to be a hater of other men. So, yeah.
Wouldn't you know?
And a male feminist.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and we were talking about it a little bit last night on the show, and I mean, it's kind of like, look, I'm not excusing it, but there is this camaraderie, or there is this ritual hazing that goes along with straight men in groups that does tend to lean into, like, I guess you could claim it would be homophobic, but I wouldn't say it's homophobic. More so it's basically just kind of a way of getting your friends to quit acting like a fucking pussy. Really?
Depends. Yeah, depends on the individual community. But yeah, I guess. But I don't see too much.
My point is none of those people that would gather in ritualistic hazing of a straight male and calling him gay in some way, or trying to make him out to be gay in some way, doesn't necessarily mean that they're against people who actually are gay and living their life the way they want to, right? Like, that's my point. It's like, one doesn't necessarily mean the other. It's just because you're, and that's kind of where this camaraderie between Deadpool and Wolverine comes in, I think, is kind of where I'm coming from. It's this,
yeah,
cis bro mentality, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's just bros, and even though they hate each other, but it's the kind of thing they'll get over.
Well, and that's kind of just the part of guys, right? Like, we're always picking it. Like, look at how badly we pick on culture, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's not here.
Probably. He's like, I'm not trying this show. They're gonna just sit there and make gay jokes about me the whole time.
Well, he shouldn't have named his channel that Gay Place.
I know. That's what I told him. Poor guy. He takes it with as much humor as anybody could. But
yeah. Well, you go out.
These guys clearly don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, no, this is very, very clear.
Yes, Deep One points out this sounds like a Toxic Tuesday. Yeah, that's all Toxic Tuesday is. It's just a bunch of gay jokes.
But what this tells me is that there's really nothing to complain about with the movie, and some people are freaked out about its level of success, which is unprecedented in a sense. Like, this is now the biggest R-rated movie of all time. which it deserves.
Well, not yet, but it's on the way to it. Yeah.
Well, it's on the way to, but I think it's a matter of time. And even, of course, you have like inflation, which has been absolutely wild. But I do believe that it's just a matter of time before it makes up the difference and actually becomes the biggest movie in terms of attendance as well, which is what we should be measuring rather than box office, because box office is fleeting. Box office allows you to hide a lack in attendance. And there has been a lack, a shortfall of attention, not attention, but attendance. Yeah.
Well, and it's also, you got to sit there and make the argument. How do you put that up against something like, say, Gone with the Wind, where there wasn't nearly as many theaters or screens when that movie came out, but yet it still sold more tickets than most movies do nowadays?
Well, it got 10 years to do it, though, because that's like how long it was on almost. So, yeah.
But anyway, we have Mr. Paul Chato joining us this morning. How you doing, Paul?
Howdy.
Greetings.
Sorry.
Good morning.
I was preoccupied.
AKA the lady was getting some, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I was. I tried to find a female boxer I could beat up.
Oh, so that's what you're up to. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we might talk about that on Rumble in a little bit.
Well, that's also something that's been normalized now. So, yeah.
Yeah, but we're glad you're here, actually, because we need a gay perspective on this.
I'm happy to give it.
See, that's gay humor, folks.
I spent a lot of my professional career with gay men, so
yeah. So I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but go ahead, Andre.
No, I've heard a little bit that there's been some pushback in terms of the jocular gay stuff in Deadpool.
I've heard if you push back, it's gay.
Yeah, it's like it's not gay enough. Like
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
everything has to be gay now, like the Paris Olympics, everything.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you don't.
I think they should be fairly happy with the Paris Olympics, but they clearly weren't happy with this movie.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I've heard if you push back, it is gay, Paul. That's the thing.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and some people have mentioned that Ryan swings both ways. I've heard everything.
I don't know about that, but
I've heard it. I'm just. I'm not
the character is pansexual.
I'm not asking you to come out and say, yes, I actually know I went down on him. That's not what I was asking.
The whole time he was saying, just because you're sucking it doesn't mean it's gay, right?
That's right. As they say, if you don't follow, you're not gay.
Well, anyway, now see, we're going down the same road they did. So Guy Lodge is going to come after us now.
Listen, scatological kind of pseudo-gay humor has always been part of the straight male toolkit.
Yeah.
It's been there. I mean, forever. Since Shakespeare and I mean the Greek and Roman plays, you couldn't have women in female roles. You had men. Shakespeare famously was the same, and I think where entertainment actually started suffering was actually letting women play women. I think that's actually where things went offline.
Just letting women do anything in general outside of the kitchen, I think.
God, this won't get many letters or comments.
And laundry,
and the point is, we're joking, but people are going to be mad at us for even joking about it. That's how.
And that's what they do to Trump all the time, and other people like that. Yeah.
I mean, this is women are allowed to make the same jokes about us. No one's stopping them.
Yeah, I don't think that too many are going to be commenting on that, though, just because our audience who are here are likely not too offended by what we say, certainly not on most occasions.
Right.
But yeah, no, I can absolutely see that point. So
but I mean, I think part of the problem with the female heroes is that none of them are fun. And does it require a jocular, maybe homoerotic aspects to it to creep in? Sure, why not? That's fun. Again, as long as nobody is belittling a group of a protected group. But as I've said before, when you are backstage with a group of drag queens, they are funnier backstage in the dressing room than they are on stage. Let me tell you, I mean, absolutely nothing is sacred. So I don't know where this comes from. I think some of it comes from the New Puritans. The left are just so unremittingly puritanical, and that includes, for the most part, everyone past the LGB alphabet. It's
Isn't
just
it funny?
unbelievable how things have become so puritanical. There's a great book on it by Andrew Doyle, The New Puritanism.
Yeah, they've practically made the Bible thumpers look like normal at this point. Like,
oh yeah,
for sure.
I've been watching the all the versions of Body Snatchers, Paul, lately, and it's hilarious how all the previous versions have been about warnings of communism for the most part, right? And how you could switch that today on how it's more or less a warning on being woke. What it's funny is how you stop from becoming one of the body snatchers. You keep yourself awake. You think about it. There's a lot of stuff you could put. Like they should do a new version of that, but be about woke culture instead of communism. I think it'd be hilarious.
Well, it kind of already is, though.
It is. That's what I'm saying. You can apply it so easily, and you actually have that aspect of it about staying awake the whole time. So like, because you can figure like once you fall asleep and you wake up as one of the plants, you're woke.
Yeah, and I've called a crap ton of people lately pod people.
You have. That's true. See, I mean, it works so well.
Yeah.
Yes, the 78 version is still probably the best, but yes.
Yeah, the author of this article would be one of those, the pod people. Yeah, it's
but he's also trying to get
they're here already.
Not gay enough, and it's so tiresome. Everything is tiresome. I'm tired of everyone complaining, and okay, well, we're complaining about things, so we have.
Well, yeah, but you also know what we're. This is where you're coming
there's
from.
a difference, though, if I may.
Yeah, you grew up during the gay rights era. You've been through all this shit. We've worked with plenty of people that are gay. We all know that this is nonsensical bullshit. And if anybody can make as many homophobic or call people as many F words as anybody else, it's a catty gay man. I'll tell you right now. They will talk some shit.
And the people who tend to be the protectors of the woke nonsense in games these days, what are they called? The narrative experts. A lot of them are gay, but they're unfunny gay people. It's that's the biggest tragedy, is what happened to the funny gay people. Where did they go? What happened to them? That's what I want to know. How did they get replaced by these really, really unfunny, serious, serious?
They didn't ask to be. I mean, they just came and took a more dominating.
Yeah, I mean that. No one has talked about that. What?
Yeah, take me back to the days of Paul Lynn and shit. Yeah.
Yes,
but we have some super chats to go through.
We do. Let's see what the audience has to say on this.
Yeah.
We got DS Ford, who's been a member for 33 months. Thank you, DS Ford, for the support. Libra Wolf has been here for 14 months. Thank you for that, Libra Wolf.
Free Wolf.
Yeah, and then Tux Mary Mom. I think that's how it's should be. Tux Mary Mom. Okay, thank you for that. And the $5. The woke aren't satisfied when they get what they want. Everyone should stop trying to make them happy. Well, I think that's kind of where we're at. We're at this turning point, and I think that's where
making them happy.
Yeah, I think we've all learned that. I think that we're literally in the final read now, and I've seen so many people, like, especially when we get to this Olympic stuff later, we'll talk about this more, but I've seen some of the posts on it, and especially the ones that say like conservatives are melting down over, boxing controversy. And if you look at the comments, they're like, this has nothing to do with one side of the aisle or the other. It has to do with right and wrong. Right. And this is coming to a head, and we're going to talk about it probably a little bit more if we get time later on. But yeah, I think a lot of people have learned now's the time to stop giving an inch, because these people take 10 miles every time.
I agree. And there's a certain war that's happening in another region of the world where Western values don't apply. They just don't work. Fuck off.
Well, and I would love to see a lot of these folks for a lot of the places that they fight for, and protest for. Go actually visit these places and see how well you're received.
Well, there's that too. Yes, there's obviously
Yeah.
that, but we shouldn't. Everybody's trying to apply their own values in different regions, and it doesn't work. Most of the time, you just have to let the people work out the problems themselves.
No, you're 100% right, and that's
You,
part of
you have to
America's
follow
problem.
the money. Always follow the money. There's no money in. I mean, for instance, there's a ton of money and job opportunities if you're a woke professor or you're a woke HR person. There's no money in being a non-woke person. If you're a critical race theory advocate, you can get a speaking gig, a consulting gig. There's no non-critical race theory activist, making
I could
money.
be that. I could go speak here and go to business, talk about, you know what? Shut up. Go back to your work job. Stop wasting time on these meetings. Now pay me. I just told you reality.
Right. There you go. Done.
Probably not like a very good business prospect, but
yeah, the left's goal is always to find something new to be angry about. That's their need. That's why they're the pod people.
Yeah, and what everyone else needs to see, that these people are enemies of society, and you cannot do anything better. They will never be happy, and any attempt to try to meet them halfway will just deteriorate society. And that's exactly what we are seeing, because this woke mob, the more and more they have gotten, the less and less happy they have become, and the worse and worse everyone else has been in the process, because they just want more, even though they've gotten so much, and everyone everywhere is worse off for it.
Well, and in the UK, when the angry mob, after the unfortunate death of those 3 children, the newly installed prime minister of England, accused them of right-wing extremism.
Oh, of course.
Of
course.
Well, they're mad. So people who are mad about a legitimate issue are now right-wing extremists. People who are questioning the boxing are right-wing extremists.
But just to remember how powerful that is, because remember, after the elections in France, before I let you know that no, that's just a smear. The parties that actually won, even though they were kept out, they weren't right-wing extremists. They're just centrists.
And then reading about the election in France, Macron pulled some very suspicious stunts. So how does that reflect on democracy? Like, are you proud? Okay, you won, but you've now tarnished the process.
Well, to Macron, it's not about that. It's just about power.
Sure.
They don't care about what they do to behold it, and that is the same. That is not a unique French thing. That is for those power-hungry commies across the world. They'll stop at nothing to.
Well, as someone said,
not let it go.
The most delicate part of having a democracy is the grace to lose, or to have grace in losing. That is not required. It's not in any kind of written document, but it is such an important element to keep countries working. And now we're seeing a deterioration of that. That is a bad sign.
Yeah, well, we'll hold on to that because we might get into that on Rumble later if we got the time. But thank you for that.
Thank you for taking us down that path.
Yeah, and then this man racing sends in $1.99, says 1 knuckle is okay, 2 and you're good. Oh my, yes,
that's right.
And then we got Bent's Corn Farm. I cannot.
That's hard to say.
Yeah, $5 if you watch the Olympics for Olympians. Despite that opening ceremony, that boxing match, you are in compliance with both wokeness and Satan.
Unfortunately, there's been some great stories that happen. In every Olympics, there's stories that pop up that are quite wonderful. But
it'll be funny if this is known as the controversial Olympics and nothing.
Well, we got
more.
another week, so we'll see whether the IOC manages to bury it.
Well,
They
like I said,
put out a very sad 4-page rebuttal.
We'll put a pin in that for now because we got at least one other story before we jump over to Rumble if we do have time, like I said. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, yes, our favorite right-wing actress.
Yeah, right-wing.
Yes, yes, that's true. She is right-wing. You heard it, make it rent.
Okay, so let me break this down, I guess, for everybody who doesn't know what the hell's going on here. She was asked, I think it's some red carpet thing. Or no, it wasn't a red carpet thing. I take that back. She was at some round table, and the question was asked, in what phase is Marvel in right now? And she quipped back, bad. Which is kind of funny. But then somebody at Disney probably reminded her agent and manager that she has a Disney movie coming up. And she probably shouldn't be bad-mouthing people at Disney, especially if she ever wants to work in the MCU.
Interesting.
That's my guess, because she come out with an apology and said, I've reached out to Kevin Feige and will no longer play in that mudslinging sandbox. Now, honestly, I think the bad look here is that it sounds like and looks like somebody at Disney had to come out and force her into this apology. I mean, if anything, I'm just sitting here going, she shouldn't be throwing rocks in glass houses. Has anybody seen the Halloween trilogy?
And also, for those who are just listening, what we have on screen here is the front page of Variety, where it says, Jamie Lee Curtis says, bashing Marvel was stupid, and, I love this one, I will do better. And then that she's reached out to Kevin Feige and will no longer play in that mudslinging sandbox.
Yeah. Who cares?
Like I said, I think this is kind of poor form on whoever it was who probably yelled at her publicist and agent to probably make her do this.
Do you have her original comment?
That was what it was. She was sitting at a round table with, I can't remember who it was.
And that was it.
Yeah, they said, like, somebody asked the question, what phase is Marvel in right now? And she just said bad.
And that's what to me is so incredible, because this is a round table that no one would have seen, no one would have cared, but someone in Disney obviously got offended and reached out to her. And here she is right now. She has a headline story in Variety, in Deadline Hollywood, in the Hollywood Reporter, across the board. This is all over the place, where she promises that she will do better, and she is sorry for having spoken ill of Marvel. And now everyone knows that she spoke ill of Marvel and Disney. And no one knew that before. So, I mean, what better example of the Streisand effect can it possibly be?
There's another wrinkle. Ryan Reynolds commented on this.
What?
Yes, he said, why in the hell should she have to apologize for this? Basically, let me see if I can find the tweet here.
Oh, he put a better tweet up with the possible implications of it, which are even more fun.
Yeah, let me see here. He tweets so goddamn much. Of course, being so busy this weekend. Yeah. Well, anyway, while I'm looking for this, yeah, like I said, do I think she should have to apologize? Fuck no, unless she actually meant it. That's a totally different story. I just think, if anything, I think it's funny she shouldn't be saying shit considering she destroyed Halloween, right? Like, it was her insistence on coming back. She should have left well enough alone, because now Halloween Ends is the official worst Halloween movie of them all. And that's saying something for a franchise that has more bad movies than good. So.
Well, I think there are other things that she has said and done which are even
and she's got a Borderlands movie coming up here too, so I wouldn't necessarily be talking smack until you see how good your Borderlands movie does.
Well, but that's like the thing, though. She's apologizing for talking smack when no one knew she was talking smack in the first place.
Well, it did kind of make the news.
Aren't you allowed a quip that even if you don't believe it, you're going for the joke?
Yeah, so, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think she should have had to apologize.
I think some Disney, person had with too much time on their hands, decided to make an issue of it.
I think so too.
Even if she absolutely believed in everything that they were doing,
it was just a joke.
I think on face value, you can actually say that the MCU is in trouble, right? I think that's not a ridiculous.
Well, you just had a very popular film come out and say that very same thing.
Yeah, but it's not. We all know it has nothing to do with Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. No, you're right, of course. The MCU is in trouble. And I have heard people that I've had private conversation with people in Hollywood where you take it even further, who say that MCU is dead. And Kevin Feige killed it when he went woke, and there's no rescuing it. So plenty of people are saying it worse behind closed doors in Hollywood. Problem for Jamie Lee Curtis was that she said it in front of a hot microphone. But what she said is tame compared to what many others are saying. Because it's an open sequel, Marvel is in big, big, big trouble now. Everyone admits it. I mean, this movie right here is the biggest thing they've had in years. What was their movie before this? The Marvels. And it lost them, what, 200-300 million? It's one of the biggest flops of all time.
At least.
And on Disney Plus, they have nothing but flops. It's just one disaster after the other, that just damages the brand more and more.
And so, I'm guaranteeing you that Ryan has already split with Disney long time ago, that this was going to be the last hurrah. Number one, I don't think he wants to play the character again.
I don't know where you get that from.
Pardon me?
I don't know where you get that from.
No, I think it's a lot of work. I mean, you've done 3 good movies. You've kind of got it out of your system. I mean, I could be wrong. It's a tough character to play.
I think you're wrong on that one. I think that Ryan Reynolds,
I think there was a
very content playing Deadpool for the rest of his career.
I think the intent was to make this the last movie, but if it was to work out, they would make more. Because otherwise, I'm sure there are going to be in other appearances like in Avengers and stuff. That's been a rumor for a while.
Maybe ultimately the point is that the rumors are that Disney had a massive amount of interference that Ryan pushed back on.
Oh, well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I have no doubt about that. I believe absolutely,
because of knowing how this movie came together. Yeah,
I think this is an example of him just not caring. On the other hand, he's in a great position where money talks, and he can say whatever he wants. And he says, "Hey, you want me to drop another $1 billion into your pot? Come and get me, assholes."
Well, exactly. The funny thing is, and this is how we think he's gotten away with talking so much smack about Marvel and Disney to this point, is this is the first Marvel movie to have an outside producer. Andre and I were pointing that out the other day. Andre specifically brought it up first, but up until we get to the new Avengers movies with Robert Downey Jr., which I think he'll have a similar deal going into that, and that's possibly how he got that deal and brokered it. But anyway, what were you going to say, Andre? Sorry.
Yeah, no, just to highlight to everyone listening that the tweet on stream is from Ryan Reynolds and reads, "Wait, is everyone expected to apologize for slamming Marvel post-Endgame?" Which he did on screen in front of the entire world.
That's true.
Marvel and Wolverine. So he's obviously not going to expect that. He's just highlighting the insanity here, because Marvel is bad now. Marvel is in trouble, and they're not out of the woods. They just had an amazing hit in Deadpool versus Wolverine, but honestly, it's not them. It's Ryan Reynolds' hit. Marvel, in a few months here, well, actually in a few weeks here, we'll be getting Agatha all along. Let's see what that does for faith in the brand. And then it's Captain America 4, which I think is going to be Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny all over again. A disaster waiting to happen. Because just keep in mind, that's a movie that I bring up that one because it cost as much as it, because they've remade it 3 times over.
And nobody wants it.
And now we're supposed to believe that they finally nailed it. The literally exact same people that couldn't get it right the first time or the second time were supposed to believe that now it's perfect. And these are the same basic brain trust, not the same people that physically made the Marvels. but it's the same brain trust that said, yeah, this is the movie that we need, and approved of everything every step along the way.
Yeah.
And that is responsible for WandaVision and all the other mystery that's happened on MCU, which is basically it's Kevin Feige and a bunch of yes men surrounding him. And now we're supposed to believe that the MCU has got things handled. No, they don't. So thank God for this box office success for Deadpool and Wolverine. I hope it continues. I hope it does become the biggest movie of the year. Not so that Tom will win his bet against Mr. Rage, but because that will force Marvel even more into changing direction. If you have like a massive difference in data points between how this movie does, and then comes Captain America 4 and flops later on, it's very difficult to ignore something like that, especially for a company that claims to be pivoting.
I don't understand why they continue to make things that no one is initially interested in. Not that that's a hard and fast rule. I mean, if you take a look at The Mandalorian, that would probably fit in that category. But the first 2 seasons were a success. So yeah. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, because you never know what you don't know. But on the other hand, ironically, Mandalorian was about a dude. And the shows that we were excited,
it was Tin Man and a Baby.
Yes. And the shows that initially we were excited about was Obi-Wan, and then they pooched that. I would say there was some excitement around She-Hulk, but that's a very iconic, muscle building, muscly, woman. I mean, why in skimpy outfits? Why wouldn't we want that? But then everything else, we haven't asked for it. We don't care about the Acolyte. We don't care about Ahsoka. We don't care about Wanda. We don't care, although it started.
And here's the thing, though, we could have cared if we had faith in them, but we have lost faith in them because they have delivered third after
but
third.
The moment the Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine movie, came into the notion of it came about, we were all initially interested, right?
Yeah. I can give you an even better example. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
No one asked for Guardians of the Galaxy, but this was at the point when the MCU was in an upward trajectory. So audiences trusted the team, and they trusted, okay, every single time I went to see a Marvel movie, it's been a great experience. I don't know these characters, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they haven't let me down so far. And it was one of the best movies that they put out. And I would still argue that that first Guardians of the Galaxy,
fantastic.
It's certainly in the running for the best MCU movie ever. I mean, I have to do a new ranking now, but certainly after Phase 3, I put Guardians of the Galaxy at the very top as my personal favorite MCU movie of them all.
Interesting.
Now, I was excited about that to begin with, because I already knew Rocket Raccoon from the comics. I was like, okay, I haven't read Guardians of the Galaxy, but I have read the Hulk comics with Rocket Raccoon. I have read the Rocket Raccoon miniseries, the one from the 80s by Bill Mantle. I was like, okay, sold. I don't need to know anything else. I'm there. And I wasn't disappointed. But that only goes to show that it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you know and that you want. You can be surprised and
absolutely
be new characters. And the MCU, if anything, showed that. Like, no one outside of the comic book reading audience knew Thor or Iron Man. And hell, Captain America. Captain America wasn't just not well known, he was actively disliked from his appearance alone in large parts of the world. I mean, many places they considered marketing the movie as the first Avenger because they thought that the name Captain America would be too off-putting after the Bush years in Iraq and everything like that. But they decided, you know what, hell with it. We're going to call this Captain America. It'll be what it is. And everyone, even in the places where they do scream death to America on a regular basis, fell in love with that movie and that character. And no one even
was well introduced in that in a very non-jingoistic way.
I was just going to say, yeah, because he had such classic American values, and that's one of the reasons why.
No, but they made fun of American jingoism because he was supposed to be just a tart, like an advertising for the positive side of the war, right? I mean,
That
that was
was the
really
perfect way to do it.
they handled that well, and in much the same way they handled Tony Stark really well as someone who was a warmonger, and then he, and then he turned that around. So they got their liberal values in there, but I think they did it in a very clever.
It's more classic liberal values.
Very, very classic.
There's no liberal values in the MCU right now. What we're seeing right now is not liberal.
Yeah.
It is the communism that hijacked the entire liberal movement.
They're happy,
I mean, the
though.
people that say that they didn't walk away from the left walked away from them, or some variety thereof. I mean, Tom, I know that you will identify with that. That's the same thing that happened with the MCU. I mean, the stuff we're seeing in the last few movies, it's not liberal. Nothing liberal about it. It's communism. That's what it is. It's a Leninist Marxism. That's what we have on display in the latter few movies here. Something that claims to be liberal, but it really isn't.
And truth is that you have to have the guts to do something new, or you don't get new IPs. We argue about that too. Oh, endless.
But that was the secret power of the Marvel universe. Case in point, Guardians of the Galaxy. All of the stuff that right now are big mainstream names, none of them were. And if they had taken the same approach that they took from phase 1 to phase 3, they could have just kept going on, doing new properties all the time.
Oh, sure.
They have an inexhaustible supply. Problem is that they lost their mojo and they could no longer do it right. Like, for instance, the Inhumans. The Inhumans could have been as big as the Guardians of the Galaxy. Obscure characters like Paladin or Solo, they could be as big as Captain America or the people surrounding him. It's all in the execution, and that's where they failed. And this is kind of like my issue with Robert Downey Jr. coming back and stuff like that. It's not about the character. It's about the writing and the storytelling creativity behind it. The only thing that you can achieve if you bring back a really famous character. Well, just look at Thor: Love and Thunder. That movie didn't do any wonders to either Thor or Chris Hemsworth or anything like that. Even if it had one of the OG Avengers, didn't help because the writing wasn't there. And it has to be. It's not like, just because you have an OG.
Although the previous Thor was huge.
I love the previous one. I'll defend that one.
Ragnarok. That was hilarious.
That's one of my favorite MCU movies as well. And so
I see Ragnarok in the same kind of vein as Deadpool and Wolverine now. Like they're this buddy movies, and that's what they should do more of in the future. Less of the multiple crossovers and worrying about being a sequel to a stupid MCU show. Let's just buddy up some of these superheroes. That's fun.
Don't jive together. And that's what'll make it fit.
Well, it doesn't always have to necessarily be that either. Sometimes it can be good team ups, but I mean, it's easier than doing all this, multiverse stuff and everything having to cross over with everything all the time so damn much.
And I, frankly, I've listened to a lot of reviews of Deadpool and Wolverine, and while most of them are positive, I got tired of, how much better it. It's not a great movie. It's so hard to say what a great movie is. A movie just needs to entertain. And we've now gotten very critical about things in ways that don't make sense from a studio perspective. And to me, Deadpool Wolverine is really just a reimagining of a Bob Hope and Bing Crosby road movie.
Yeah, true. It's not a great movie per se, but it was a great time in theaters.
Yes,
that is something that the audience is starved of, and the movie appears even better because it's been so long.
But somehow that's viewed negative.
You mentioned Bob Hope and some dude, right?
Bing Crosby.
Okay, yeah, fine. No one under the age of 50 knows who the hell they are. But and you're right, of course. But this is something that. Can't believe I'm going to say this, modern audiences haven't experienced for many
Well,
years, if
and
ever in their
yes,
lifetime.
it is the buddy comedy kind of thing, or buddy cop movie, or however you want to look at it, road movie. It's all these things, but I think people are underselling it a little bit, because after seeing it again and thinking a lot about it, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, Andre, but I think even people are saying all you got to do is turn your brain off and you'll enjoy it. I disagree with that. I think this movie is very clever.
Oh,
I think
agree with you.
it is one of the most meta movies ever
Mhm.
made, and that may be to its detriment, but overall, I mean, thinking about why this movie exists, what it's really about, what arcs the characters go through, like my whole thing is that I think it's a lot better than I may have even initially said.
It absolutely is. And I'm going to go completely opposite. You'll have fun if you switch off your brain. You'll thoroughly enjoy the meta and the subtleties in the storytelling if you leave your brain off. Sorry, leave your brain on, because there's so much going on here. I mean, this is, I mean, there's subtext. And I really picked up on that.
There's a
the
lot of
second time I
subtext,
saw it.
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. This is an underrated movie. Many people don't give it the time of the day because of the wall breaking and the fourth wall jokes and everything. But
Oh yeah, and
The movie
that's
is the
often
fourth
being-
wall.
that's part of the meta aspect of it, and part of
It
the
is.
meta messaging.
Because I take back something I said in my initial review. I said they should do an MCU meta cut of this. I realize you can't. You cannot. There is no physical way they can do it. Because if you see this movie again, Paul, go into it with the understanding the only reason it exists, the only reason everything is happening is because Disney bought Fox and killed everything. Right? That is what set this whole thing up, that caused the void to happen in the first place. And then you go into that and you realize that, okay, so what's going on here? And people are overcomplicating the plot on top of it all. So you have the one side that's enjoying it, that's saying, just turn your brain off. And I think they're doing a disservice. Then you have the other side who don't like the film and they're overcomplicating everything. It's like, okay, you're overcomplicating this whole thing, because they're even trying to point out because there are some plot holes, I guess, to a point, but I'm not so sure those are plot holes. Because I'll give you an example in the beginning. If you remember in Deadpool 2, he's just going back and forth in his own timeline. There isn't multiple timelines, right? Because there isn't a multiverse in Deadpool's movie. It doesn't become a multiverse until Disney buys Fox, hence thrusting Deadpool into this multiverse of sorts. And so there's this whole idea, because I don't think they addressed that well enough in the beginning of the film, and there's a few other elements I don't think they addressed well enough. But at the end of the day, my gripes about the movie now are basically down to his relationship with his girlfriend. I still don't understand why they had to be broke up. That's it.
I agree.
That's the only problem I have with the movie now.
plus, I love her.
Yeah. Well, and it's to give him motivation, but it's piss poor. You don't need that. All you needed was the motivation of them telling him, we're plucking you out of this world because we want to keep you. But that means that your world's going to die. Well, that's more than enough motivation for him to do what he's going to do, especially if he's still in love.
Can I offer something right there? Since he doesn't have her, he needs that companionship. He is extra dependent on this heterosexual romance with Logan, because he doesn't have an actual romance. There's a hole in him, which is even more infatuated with Logan to fill what's there. I can kind of see that point. Like, for instance, if he had her in his life, he wouldn't be fanboying so much about Logan. Then would be a more matter of, we just need to get this done. So you need to stop drinking, get your ass together. He'd be more like Rocket Raccoon was with Thor in Avengers Endgame, where he's like, come here, let me slap you in the face, because you need to fucking stay focused now. I don't care about you. This is my world. These are all my friends. So get over yourself and do this for me. That's what he naturally would have been like if he actually had her in his life, but he doesn't. So actually, to me, I don't even see that as a whole.
Let me rephrase it.
Part of the thing that makes the movie work.
Let me rephrase it. Then they should have handled it differently, because the way they have her acting in the movie justifies his irrationality, right? Because he broke up with her, remember, supposedly, and that was the whole thing, is because he didn't feel like he was living up to her standards or whatever, and they had that little moment they have, and that's the thing is, like this thing that's hanging over the movie. Like,
Yeah, but
she's-
messed up people do that. Messed up.
I get
people.
that, but I don't think Vanessa would do that because this motherfucker went through hell for her already. So like twice. So it just feels weird. And I think they handled it poorly. It should have been something that was all in Deadpool's mind. And then I agree with you. Like he's looking for something more that he's not finding in their relationship. Right. And then this movie helps him realize that this whole time he was happy where he was. And that's why he wants his world to stay alive. I think that would have been a little bit better. But that's my literally picking fleas type of nitpicking at this
I
point.
think
because,
you're picking nits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually to the movie's strength. When that now is the worst thing you have to say about it, that means that they've done a lot of stuff right here. And Bucky Cat, of course, is right. Phone calls were made to make Miss Halloween
On Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Bucky Cat, for the $2. Let's get through these super chats here. Markson 117B sends in $1.99, says Paul is secretly the Turkish silver medal shooter. That's
I saw an
probable.
image of him where he just
Yeah,
sort
it
of
was
like
both,
hands on hip and bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, to get someone that obviously is an actual hitman to go to the Olympics.
That's
I could see you
well,
doing
I wouldn't be surprised if half the people from that part of the region at the Olympics double up as assassins.
Yeah, but no, that's kind of like people are saying online, because I mean, everyone else, they have all this super duper advanced headgear and all of these helmets and all of these fancy, crazy binoculars, everything to keep their eye closed and enhance their focus. And he's just there with this with a cigarette in his mouth, and he doesn't even close one of his eyes. He has both eyes wide open, just casually lifts and shoots and hits Deadeye, and or Bullseye, I mean. And that's something that they actually do in law enforcement and in military. They do not, of course, a sniper, like a legit sniper, will close one of their eyes, but everyone else, they'll be trained to shoot with both their eyes open, to have a narrow field of view.
But partly also because they have to deal with things fast. They can't. They have no time to set up, aim, and shoot. They have to be accurate. In a very tough situation quickly.
Yeah.
And a pistol actually is your least accurate weapon.
Yeah, this is true.
But I think that was, you know what, they should get John Wick into the Olympics.
There are many things you could bring into the Olympics that would make it more interesting. And sometimes they change up their games and stuff, but I think they could change it up some more. Invent some new genres. That
I
would
agree.
be fun. Yeah. Get some more proper gladiatorial combat in there. And
Get
stuff.
actors who have been trained to use weapons like Baldwin.
Yeah. Yeah. Increase the stakes.
Get Baldwin,
anyway,
get Baldwin in the handgun event.
You like gladiators? You ever seen a grown man naked?
You sure this gun has got no bullet in it? You sure? Okay, fine.
Okay, God damn it, Alec Baldwin.
That was very distasteful, but it's Friday. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sure Alec Baldwin has said far more distasteful things than that. So
I'm sure.
Oh, he called his daughter a piggy.
You
that would be
worthless Alec Bowen, you are worthless Alec Bowen. You failed in every way, and now my stock in you has fallen.
Although I don't think anything will top the drunken hamburger conversation on phone by
Mel Gibson, or was it?
No.
You're talking about
the Hoff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or when he was eating pancakes off the floor drunk.
Yeah, something like that. And he was
probably the same thing you're referring to.
Yeah, that was when his daughter videotaped him doing some stupid shit.
Yeah, that was a real low point.
Who needs enemies with kids like that?
Right? Yeah, that was David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he recovered from that though, because he's the Hoff.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, it was nothing bad. He just looked like an idiot. But,
he did.
Again,
it was kind of along the lines of what Amber did to Johnny, right? Taking pictures of him when he's all fucked up and shit.
Oh, that was worse.
It was, but I'm saying it's along those lines, right? It's like, first of all, it's your dad. What the fuck are you doing? Second of all, if he's really in that bad a shape, why are you videotaping instead of helping him?
You know what? I think it was her way of helping him. I think she was trying to embarrass him to to go the straight and narrow.
Yeah, but you don't do it in public like that. You do it.
Well,
He
maybe
lives in
she
the public.
threatened him with it before. Like, if you get so drunk again, I'm gonna show all your fans they know exactly how you are. They're gonna have to.
I don't know. I have as a son of an alcoholic parent, I just found that is a little distasteful.
I listen. I sympathize.
There's other ways of going about it than that. I don't disagree with.
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
showing
disagree
them
with you, of course.
the videotape to embarrass them, but like destroy their career at the same fucking time, practically. I mean, you're lucky that it didn't, kind of thing, you know, because it's not like
what?
David Hasselhoff was in the best of shape at that point.
Hey, listen. I mean, you as a family member know better than anyone else that families can be unbelievably irrational to each other.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, listen, what kind of stupid yelling matches do you have with mothers, fathers that just you don't have out in the real world? Families are stupid.
I guess my point is, it's not like he's sitting there whipping shit around, yelling at the kids or anything like that. He's eating pancakes off the fucking floor.
Yeah.
Like, that is some sad ass shit. It's like, help your dad eat the fucking pancakes and then deal with it. Like, that's what I'm saying. If he was being abusive, that'd be one thing, right? That's my point. I guess I'm coming from. Anyway, and this is coming from somebody whose dad used to regularly flip the fucking table. So yeah, like, yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the thing, is where it kind of came to a head.
And then the one day you nail the table down, and then he tries it, goes, what the fuck?
No, it was more so, I mean, to get real for a minute, my mom just basically didn't clean it up one night, and the next day, and she's like, either you're going to clean it up or you're going to rehab.
Wow.
So he cleaned it up and went to rehab.
Oh. Wow.
So,
you should have filmed it.
I have filmed him doing other stupid shit, and I did show, because I've actually had experiences like this, and this was after rehab where he relapsed. And yeah, I did have embarrassing video of him, but I didn't show it to everybody. I showed it to him to embarrass him.
You should have started a channel.
And that was when he quit drinking again. And then he finally quit everything for the most part after his heart attack, and then he's relapsed on certain things. But
any addiction is tough to stop.
It is, yeah, no. Well, I mean, he's always going to be an addict, obviously.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely.
But
in the attic.
It's one of those things. But we're talking about Star Wars now because of this super chat, and it's perfect timing for Yellow Flash.
I really wanted to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, which is fun. Unlike Star Wars.
It will come back up.
You were talking about something earlier with Ryan Reynolds and him responding to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I wanted to add to that is, you know what him and Hugh Jackman and a lot of other people are doing on social media revolving around this movie? They're having fun.
Right.
Like, there's nobody saying anything controversial, nothing stupid. There's no Renee Zellwegers, no Halle Baileys. Nobody is saying anything controversial. They're all having fun with this movie. You can tell they're having a good time. It's what Hollywood should be doing all the time. It makes people want to engage. There's already memes of this movie that have come out. Like, everyone is having fun with this movie. And it's doing what a movie like this should do. Is make people have a good time.
It's because it's got men involved. Go watch the early Johnny Carsons when they bring on the Italian singer and they have George Gobel, and then they bring on the guy who was always smoking on his own TV show, brilliant, funny show. And just
I know what you're talking
Bishop about. And just the entire gang of goofballs, Frank Sinatra. And they're just so casual. And I mean, I hate to say this, there's this guy energy that
talking about Dean, right?
Pardon me? Dean Martin. Thank you. Yes, Dean Martin. So there's this weird guy energy thing that is unique to men. I hate to say it.
And you're right. And women, a certain sect of women really hate it when men are having fun.
Yeah. And
everyone's having.
That's what this movie has.
Well, you know what else? You know what else it has, though? What's going on right now in the world? Everybody is having a hard time. We got all this discourse going on. And when you watch this movie, and you could say what you want to about its substance and all of that shit, but you know what everyone mostly has when they watch this movie? A smile on their face. And you go in here and you escape and you get some escapism, which is what these things are supposed to do. I actually watched it again recently and it made me enjoy it more.
Me too. That's what I said as well. Like the second time I saw it, and this very rarely happens. Like the second time I see a movie, normally that's when the cracks appear for a movie I enjoyed the first time. This one, I saw more of the depth that's really there, and I appreciated it more, and I became a bigger fan of the movie second time I saw it.
Yeah, I think the fun around this movie is what's
Mhm.
pushing it to the level of box office that it has. And I think it's going to, I almost think you could see this movie hit $2 billion.
I don't know
there's
if it's gonna
nothing-
go that high, but
There's nothing in this movie's way.
yeah, but I just think
Look at
it's
the
just- it's that
momentum it
tall
has.
order. And I'm the one who said it's gonna be, like, the
1.5
biggest
for
movie.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is about 1.5, maybe 1.7 on the high end. That was what I was thinking, and that'd still be close to 2. I'm not saying you're wrong, but no, I think you're right. It has very little competition. Alien is the only thing coming up that is any kind of competition for it, really. It is a lot like a classic film, and I think that's why people are resonating with it. It doesn't have all what little politics are in it is poking fun at modern politics, right? Like the great scene in the beginning is like, you know, when he's like abortion and this and that and the other. That's how I feel about those things, and that's all I'm going to say about him. We're not going to say anything more. And then the one guy tries to say anything. He's like, shh, nope, that's it. We're done. Like, you know, like it's like that's about all you need, right? Just to poke fun at stuff like that.
But it was fun from the get-go. The moment Ryan
Yep.
Reynolds introduced Hugh Jackman, like
Yeah.
the very first YouTube video where they were goofing. And you know what? You know, those women on the panel for Disney 22 or 23 from the Acolyte that talking about the patriarchy and how finally women get to be installed. They weren't goofing, they were idiots. It's just so tiresome. And that's not to say women can't be goofs. There are phenomenal female comedians who can riff just as well as a guy, but they don't. Disney's not hiring them. They're hiring these pseudo serious people that are, you know, eating out of their own navels.
Well, let's get to some of these super chats here because there might be one more story.
I
we wanna
agree
get
with
to here.
Yellow.
But Satan's Retribution says, with 35 South African rands, what's your take on Skeleton Crew not being wine enough and struggling at Lucasfilm as a result report? Which was
Maybe
probably
he's
desperately
feeling woke enough.
That's what I was gonna say. What's wine? What does he mean? Woke enough? Okay.
That would be
Is Skeleton
my
Crew not
conspiracy.
being woke enough, huh?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about Skeleton Crew other than it's got Jude Law in it. I don't care about it.
Yeah,
be
That's
honest.
the first time
Star
hearing
Wars is
about
dead.
it. I'd imagine if anybody knows anything about this, it's probably WDW Pro though.
Well,
I hope it's worse than the Acolyte, so I can make a video on it every day.
I don't think you'll be able to. What little I have heard is also that this one apparently ain't too bad, and we know some people I believe are in it. I mean, this is the one that Tom Conkle is in, isn't it?
No,
Oh,
he
is
was
it?
in the he's in the Jedi Tales one. Or the Sith
That's
Tales.
the one. He was in Tales of Jedi, right? Yeah.
Tales of the Sith, I mean, actually, but yeah.
Okay. Is that out?
Yeah, I think that's already out.
And that didn't raise any waves because
It didn't go either way. It was kind of like, I mean,
That's
there was
what
a
I mean.
few-
It can't have
yeah.
been too offensively bad, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen with the Skeleton Crew. I don't think it's going to be like super amazing or anything like that, but I also don't think it's going to be Acolyte level bad. So I could be wrong, but I don't think Yellow Flash that there's much content to mine in it. Although time will tell on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've also pointed out before, I think a lot of the animated stuff, I mean, all the Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Sith, I think are put together by multiple teams, but I mean, a lot of their main Clone Wars animated stuff, I think is all still the same crew that put together the stuff before when it was headed up by George Lucas still. So
Yeah, I
that's
just saw
possibly
some
why.
Batman stuff where two women were kissing in a cartoon. I went,
Well, it's
oh,
funny you mentioned that. because-
Very funny you mentioned that.
Very funny you mentioned that. Hang
Oh,
on to that
joy.
thought.
I haven't watched it yet. Maybe because I know we're going to talk about it tomorrow, so I might watch because I have Amazon Prime anyway. So maybe I'll watch like 3 episodes of it just so I can talk about it. I don't want to, though. As soon as I saw that JJ was attached to this, I said, it's going to be shit. I'm just proven right. Anything he touches, fandom-wise, turns to shit. Star Trek.
Yeah. Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Let's get into it right away, since we're all.
What else was
yeah,
he
let's-
involved in?
well,
He
yeah,
was
it's
involved
not
in
really
something
been
else,
Involved
too.
in some of my favorite TV shows, though. Person of Interest. He's done. He's got some stuff that I loved.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna put it some pin and
Bastard.
come back to the super chats here, but because that's what Andre says.
Yeah.
We've got this bit of news. This actually is like just happening now. Anna, that Star Wars girl, is being called out by our new favorite resident journalist, Paul Tassi.
Paul's an ass. But
He is.
sometimes
He's an ass.
He's written some good stuff, but
Eh.
his bad stuff counters his good
He's
takes.
trying to be the new fucking Scott Mendelson, and he's like literally
I don't know
trying
if
to
I would-
hand Scott Mendelson his fucking Bud
that,
Light at this point.
that is a
Have you
crown
seen some
that
of
is
his?
fused. That's a crown that's fused to that man's head. I don't know if you
Have
can
you
take
seen
anything
some of the
from-
articles we've used?
Yeah,
Man,
I've
this
covered some of
dude's-
Paul's
yeah,
bad
he's a
articles.
fucking
Absolutely.
Nimrod. Well, and he's actually coming after us. Like Scott, he'd just get pissy and fucking block you like he did me. Paul here is coming out after Anna, who said, just watched episode 1 of the Batman Caped Crusader, and here's what they did. Two-Face isn't crazy, but nice. The voice acting for Bats and others is awful.
I actually
which I think,
thought his voice was okay, but that's
well, Script Doctor already said that it was probably going to suck, but yeah.
there's only one clip I've seen of the show that I liked, and it's where the Martian Manhunter. He confronts him and he's like, I've got a $700,000 piece of kryptonite for the one in Metropolis. All I need for you is a penny for a book of matches. I thought that was a pretty cool scene.
Then she says the Gordons are race swapped, which is nothing new. Alfred is fat, and Batman uses a gun. Well, the last two, I mean, you and I, Flash, will be the first to tell her. Like, yeah, this is because it's based on the old 1940s.
Yeah, this is 1940s golden age
But
Batman.
then why in the hell is the Penguin trans and the Gordons race swap? So she has a point there. And so what does Paul Tassi come after her with? Paul says, I thought she wrote race swamped as a typo, but she said it twice, so she genuinely thinks it's called that. Well, I think it's probably her phone fucking with her.
Monkey Jeebus, too. People weren't openly gay in the 1940s. Very
Exactly.
different time.
This is also one of the people who endlessly rips on the Acolyte. No surprise that any actual Batman fan will love the series. Well, I got to correct Paul on one thing. Anna didn't start watching the Acolyte until recently. So there, fuck you, Paul, on that one. But yeah, he goes on with a few other things here too. And Anna actually, I think, brought up that it was based on, so she was aware of that. But then also, why are there lesbians in it? Why is Harley Quinn there? And all this other. She's making good points otherwise.
And this
So-
guy is claiming that the true Batman fans will love this series, just like the true Star Wars fans love the Acolyte, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but from what I
Basically.
understand, he's not even really in the show that much. He's like a side character. Is that true? That's what
Batman?
Gary said. I saw his post. It said that,
Batman's a
and not
side
just
character.
him. Archcast said the same thing, that
I don't know. I ain't
like,
watching
Batman's
this garbage.
barely in it. He's like a side character in his own show. That's what
I've warned
Gary,
people about this from the start.
Gary and Arch both said that. So I'm inclined to believe that it's probably true.
Yeah, I
remember-
would also be inclined to believe that, yeah.
Go back about 2 years. This was the series that was announced that was going to have what's his face involved.
Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm, and it was going to be in the vein of the Batman animated series. And then
So
all
you
of a
would
sudden
really
we
need
started
Paul
hearing the
Dini.
truth.
Like Paul Dini
Yeah.
not being involved in it is.
Well, not just that. You got J.J. Abrams. It's not actually Batman the Animated Series anything spinoff. It's just its own fucking thing, and it's playing revisionist history. It's like, if you're gonna do a 1940s Batman, do 1940s Batman. You
Yeah,
can't
how
have your
hard is
cake and
that?
eat it too.
How hard is that to do?
That would be great, actually, if you did it like a noir style show. I mean, because that seems like they're trying to do that. Like this, there's a lot of similarities, like at least in the designs to BAS. Just it's nowhere near as good, and you're never going to replicate that because you're not going to get the people back. Just having Bruce Timm isn't enough. You need Paul Dini and few other people.
Not have J.J. Abrams involved.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams right there is the killer.
also-
Well, now we know why Zaslav said go ahead and shop it around, because I ain't playing this shit on HBO Max. Go ahead, Andre, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was about to say, and even if you had those people, they may not have it anymore. They may no longer be the creatives that they once were. So, okay, yeah, that's true, because Zaslav, he sent this around. So which network is this thing on? I haven't seen it either.
It's on Amazon, and he didn't send it around. He just
It's on
rejected it.
Amazon.
And JJ
All right.
has it. JJ has it in his contracts, because there was another show that was involved in this. Because remember, he had that big, huge $500 million deal with Warner Brothers, remember?
Yeah.
That he only had gotten paid a portion of it because he'd only done a couple of things. And he done like 2 or 3 shows, and both of them got rejected. And he was able to shop them around. So that tells me contractually that's the way it works for him in his production company. To where if somebody cancels something on him, he gets to go shop it around.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Reeves is even a producer on this too.
I believe this is the thing where he was a producer, yeah. And this was like the thing that to me seemed like, okay, here you have a match made in hell. Because you have Matt Reeves, whose Batman I could not stand. You have J.J. Abrams, who I used to like at one point, but who I since cannot stand. And they are doing a new riff on a great series that I do not trust them with, and evidently, it's evident now why. And finally, Zastor, he didn't want it. And yeah, as you said, Tom, now we know why. And he was right in his call.
Yeah, but we're still getting the Batman and shit like that. But I thought this was kind of funny that Paul had to come out in White Knight for Batman.
Yeah, he is kind of an ass. Sometimes he's okay, but it's almost like he is trying to intentionally. Well, you know why he's doing that? It's attention, because look at
That's
all
what I
these
mean.
websites.
He's trying to take that crown, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to get people over on Forbes reading the entertainment, but it never works. Like look at what's happening. You just had Game Informer fold, which was the last magazine. Their website's gone too. I guess it's going under. Like this doesn't save your sites. Sorry.
So yeah, with that, anything more to say about Paul Tassi? I didn't think so. So let's get back into these Rumble rants and super chats. We got Culix81 who sends in $2 on the Rumble side and says Curtis had to apologize because the truth hurts, Paul. Jack Nicholson voice. Kevin can't handle the truth. Actually, I think Paul stepped away for a moment, but yeah. Yeah, it sure seems that way. Troy Pacelli's in the house. How you doing, Troy? And sends in $5. Says if Jamie was told to make that apology, she should sue Disney for having gender double standard vis-a-vis the Ryan Reynolds tweet. I don't know if it was definitely that she was made to apologize. Like I said, I think a phone call was made to either her publicist or agent saying, what the fuck is she doing? She's got a Disney movie coming up. That's not real good look, especially if she ever wants to be in a Marvel movie in the future. And her agent panicked. Because you know what that means? If somebody's telling you at Disney, one of the biggest places in Hollywood, that your actress just fucked up and she might get blacklisted from working there.
What would she do anyway, though? Like, I'm trying to think what
got,
role she would play.
Well, she's got Freaky Friday 2 coming out. She is a name that's been bounced about often for things like this. She's going to be in One Piece. She's going to be in
she'll be in One
Borderland.
Piece season 2 for sure.
So there's 2 big high profile things she's got coming out. That
she'll
means
be playing Chopper's the doctor. Well, I forget her name, but it's Chopper's mentor that she's with.
So basically, like if there were to ever be anything to come up that she could play, she could fuck that. Because I think some people are even calling her to be what's her face, the older version of that one character. The Spider Lady.
Madam Web?
Yeah.
Madam Web they already kind of ruined her, but unless they're going to do a real
I'm just saying
live action multiverse movie.
That's what I'm saying. For instance, that's one character that's been brought up with her name attached to it already, I believe. And I think other people have mentioned her for other ones.
She would have been a great Madam Web, actually.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like she isn't an in-demand actress, and so I could see where her agent or whatever probably panicked and told her this is a bad fucking move right now, especially with what you're doing. And I said, I think it's stupid, and Ryan did the right thing for her in that sense. But, yeah. As far as that goes, I would never want, it doesn't really matter. You don't want to put that block there, basically, is what was probably told to her. you know. And
Yeah,
that's
boy,
probably
did that
why she called
backfire.
Kevin directly. Go ahead, Andre. Sorry.
Yeah, like, and boy, did that backfire.
And now that she has a rapport with Kevin, if they did talk, then that puts her in one more closer position to being in something now. So
Yeah.
Maybe a way of turning lemons into lemonade. Jesus Davila gifted a membership. Thank you for that, Jesus. We appreciate that. Pablo Papano sends in $2 and says, it's a lie. Classic liberalism leads to communism. Well, which kind of classic liberalism are you talking about? Right? Like, there's a lot. That's a very nuanced conversation.
And everything can be taken to a really, really bad place if given the right push.
I think we were talking more about like 80s, 90s classic liberalism, but 70s, 80s, 90s probably more or less. Chris K sends in 5 and says, does the panel think that Disney will cast a new Deadpool for modern audiences or try to recast Ryan Reynolds for another role like RDJ? No.
Ryan Reynolds will play this role as long as he can. He loves the character. I was listening earlier. Paul was saying, I don't think he's here right now.
I'm back.
I don't think he's done. I think he'll play this character as long as they'll have him. Like he's loved the character going back to like interviews from that Wolverine Origins movie. Like he wants this role. He pushed so hard to get that first movie made.
Yeah.
He leaked that screen test.
Mm-hmm.
He paid for the writers out of his own pocket.
Yeah. He loves this role and it shows.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm just telling you that was a huge effort to get this third movie done, and I'm sure he's somewhat exhausted.
It's an effort that he would have done again.
I'm happy to see him again.
Yeah.
It will. You're gonna see a fourth one now because of how much money it made. I'm positive he's in Secret Wars because Chris Hemsworth was saying, "I know why too," and he's going to be in that movie for sure. They're going to bring everybody back Endgame style for Secret Wars.
I just hope that we'll be getting more standalone Deadpool movies or more Deadpool team-up movies.
My position is that the Disney hierarchy hates the movie.
Agreed. I agree with that.
But there's
possibly if Kevin Feige loves his job, he may not have any other choice but to swallow that bitter pill.
Well, apart from some of that sanctimonious bullshit interview that he did about, oh, it's so heartfelt, you're going to love it, and whack, 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 whack. I mean, no one at Disney is talking it up. They don't want to talk it up. It's so absolutely ridiculous. They hate the movie.
Oh, I kind of believe that because it spits in the face of all the bullshit they've put out.
Yep.
And look at how they're acting. Like, this is one thing that I've pointed out because I've been covering that gay shit that they're mad about in it. And the people that are hard on this movie, if you go and look at the reviews they've given, just the Marvels, like these people are sucking each other's dicks about that movie, talking about how it's, exactly what fans needed. It's so great. Like, IGN has been going really hard on Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave that movie, they were like, oh, yeah, it's higher, first, faster, whatever, baby. This movie's great. But then they call Deadpool and Wolverine slop. But that movie is not slop. That movie, The Marvels, is one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. That movie is pure dog shit. And you're going to say that movie's better than this one? Get the fuck out of here. You know why they're hard on this movie? It's two white straight men.
Yep. That's what
having fun.
Before you got in here. Yep.
There it is.
That's exactly what we were saying.
Dean Martin, Bob Hope, with Johnny Carson having fun, spilling drinks on each other, goofing. They just hate that.
It's that, or to speak to our more modernistic kind of crowd. It's like Walter Matthau and Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, basically. It's those two guys. It's your
There's no strong
couple,
women in
your
this
crumpy
movie.
Old men. No, not really. Not to the point where they're
just Laura.
The villain is bad, but I mean she's bad, right? Like I hate where some people are even trying to say, oh, she has this turn. No, it's a truce for a moment because they make a deal. And she thinks about it for a second and she realizes it's probably the better deal because otherwise she'll probably die too if she doesn't fucking do something about it. Because she's been double-crossed as well.
The only strong woman in is Laura, X-23.
I
And
love
she's
her.
there. She's there to inspire the main character.
Exactly. Yeah. If anything,
And
she helps. Go ahead.
And it's the
Sorry.
best scene in the movie.
It is. It is absolutely the
I
best
almost
scene in the
cried.
movie. It is. And that's what I was saying the other night because somebody was arguing about how Logan was a much better. I'm like, I don't know. It's a much better representation of Wolverine. I said, no, I agree with the people who are saying this is. Because you even get that scene with Laura where he's sitting there on the log and talking to her.
Logan is a better movie.
It is a better movie, maybe overall. I
But
would
you
say
know
that
how many times
this is a better Wolverine, is what I said, not a better.
Logan is a depressing movie. I love Logan.
Is a
I
depressing
consider
movie.
it. I
and it's
consider
a
it
gruff movie.
one of the best comic book movies ever made.
But as I was saying, this is Wolverine.
It's not a good
though.
time watching it.
No, but this is the character Wolverine. That's my point. That's old man Logan. Fine. That's even. Kind
There's
of a
one thing that they
shade
get
of it.
wrong.
There's a lot of things they get
Wolverine
wrong.
can't get drunk because of his healing factor. In fact,
Well,
the one time he could,
that's why he's drinking straight alcohol out of the fucking.
when he chugged that vodka, like he would literally be drunk for 2 seconds and then his healing factor kicks in.
Well, that's why
he
I
has
like
to
that
chug it to get drunk, and it doesn't last long. It's like a 30-second fix.
Did you notice he's not drinking like vodka and shit later on when they go to that one
Yeah,
place?
he drank
literally-
straight up hands.
He straight
rubbing
alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, thank God this is an R-rated movie because that's all we need is a bunch of kids drinking straight alcohol and killing themselves. Holy shit.
I
Well,
just
like, oh
want
my
to
God.
tell the
Yeah.
audience here that when I have a beer, I usually only drink half of it and put the other half in the fridge. I just want to tell you. I'm not Wolverine.
I was going to say, I think they do kind of address that Flash in that. But what I was saying is this is a better representation of Wolverine, the character, overall.
From the comic books.
From the comic books, and especially because of that scene where he's talking about the outfit. He's like, he always wanted me to wear it, referring to a Cyclops,
The
right?
cowl?
The whole outfit, right? And he's like, I never would. And that's why he's been wearing it all this time underneath his clothes, is because ever since the X-Men were killed, that was his penance, right? Or what he was doing to himself, his reminder every day of what he fucked up. And then, I love the scene where, and you said it yourself, he gets kind of choked up where he says, God forbid I actually wanted anybody knowing I wanted to be around, because, he's always acting like he didn't want to be there.
Well,
And that whole scene is like, I think encapsulates everything that he has never really said before or shown in the films, but has always been there.
well, the audience.
Christopher White in the chat saying that he could get drunk easier before the adamantium. I disagree with that because if anything, his skeleton reduces his healing factor because it's working overtime to stop him from dying, which is the whole point of why he's dying in Logan. It's because he's slowly getting poisoned because his healing factor has to work harder because, he's got an adamantium metal skeleton fused to him. So it works him harder, but that's why he doesn't die from it in the comics. But
I just wanted to say the audience went crazy when he put on the cowl. It was a huge moment of love that they cheered. And at the same time, I don't know if you heard this, Yellow, but when Kevin Feige's credit came up at the beginning of the movie, the audience booed.
no one did that in mine. Everyone, there were no
the
boos.
Kevin
It was
Feige
all
jokes didn't fly
claps
so
and
well in mine.
claps and good times. Everyone.
I guess I had
laughing.
a very kind of hit knowledgeable crowd.
It was funny how my audience actually represented the demographics that we've gotten so far because this has a very huge Hispanic audience. I did have a bunch of Mexican guys there. It was kind of funny because I was like looking around the audience and it was like just a couple of couples, myself, and
Another thing I
a
want
bunch
to.
of these guys together hanging out at the top of the theater.
There's some confusion. So I think the reason that Wolverine's skeleton was hurting his healing factor in Logan is because of the poison they were putting in food. So remember in Logan, they changed everybody. It's like they got rid of mutants through like food manipulation and putting chemicals and shit, which you could talk about with, modern conspiracies, but they got rid of the mutants by doing that. There was no more mutant births. And I think that was probably weakening his healing factor because everybody was consuming that food. So that's why he ended up dying from the adamantium poisoning, like getting weaker from that, because I think it was hurting his healing factor. They never really explained that very well, but that's what I got out of it.
I also imagine because the director of that movie, he also directed the previous movie, The Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wherein his claws were cut off and his bone marrow was sucked out. I kind of like imagine that too just may have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
That he was like that he lost who knows how much of his lifespan the moment that happened.
Maybe. And then we got let's see here. We got this one already, but this was one towards you, Paul. I just wanted to make sure you saw it.
Shoot it.
Helix had sent this over. It says Curtis had to apologize because the truth hurts, Paul. Kevin can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. That was a good movie.
It was. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that was a good job. That's like that.
The truth is we do our jobs day in, day out. I don't remember all the words, but I just remember that scene.
That's right.
And he only wins that case. He only wins that case because he gets Jack Nicholson to freak out on the stand. Otherwise, Jack's got it licked.
Yep.
He pushes all the right buttons. But yeah, and then we got WDW Pro in the house who had the link if he was able to join us. He's more than welcome. Jeremy Renner suggests they're getting the band back together. Also says he didn't know about RDJ. Very interesting. Yeah, I'd heard that pretty much anybody who was living was still going to be in the Avenger film, so I'm not surprised about that. But yeah,
they're going to bring everybody back as a variant.
I have a hard time believing Jeremy Renner didn't know about this when everybody else did.
Oh, he's probably just saying, "Oh yeah, no, he definitely didn't violate any contract." So, yeah.
And it's so funny the backflips they're trying to do to maintain the timeline, and as if it's sacrosanct. That
they call it the sacred
comic book.
Yeah, it is the one sacred timeline.
They even don't understand that comic books go wherever, they get a new writer on board and then it becomes a series. They just don't have that fun. We're going to use the word fun again. They don't get it.
No, of course they haven't had fun. They've been too busy teaching their lessons to the world, preaching to the audience.
That's
message for the better part of a message right now.
One thing
that's serious stuff.
Another thing Deadpool and Wolverine does through Loki is fix that bastardized X-Men timeline. Remember, like we had two Sabretooths. You don't see
right.
What's the he's a good actor.
Like
the
Liev
second
Schreiber. I do like his version of Sabretooth better.
Is that the one from Origins?
That's the one from Origin. Yeah, that's Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, he was a better Sabretooth.
I think
you didn't see him down in the void. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I like
put the other one down.
A.V. Schreiber version of him was way better.
Levy, is that how you say his name? Or is it Leave? I thought it was Leave.
Liev Schreiber.
He was one of the best parts of that shitty movie.
Good actor, got a fucked up kid though. He's another stupid Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know how many of these, how many, like, it's like become an epidemic that these Hollywood folk have like trans kids now.
It's a mind virus. It
is.
Camille Paglia 15 years ago said it was a what do you call it? Not a plan. It's not a trend. It's a it's just a thing. I mean, it's the latest fad. She called it a fad 15 years ago.
That's true. It is a fad.
It was designer kids first, right? With Angelina Jolie, but now she's
anything that touches this weird pseudoscience of psychology tends to turn to shit because for years we've had anorexic and bulimics, and then we had for a good chunk of time the faked memories. Remember, where suddenly fathers were being jailed because their teenage daughter remembers him doing horrible things to her. What were those? Oh yeah, recovered memory syndrome. Now that's gone because after a whole bunch of people's lives and families' lives were exploded and turned to crap, now it's gone because it never really existed. It was this bullshit thing. Again, right now, almost all of the doctors' business with regards to anorexia is gone. replaced by this other new bullshit, right? Because
The
it's
false,
all
like the false memories.
false
Thing.
memory. Thank you.
There's
Thank
actually there's some really interesting stuff that I've seen from that. Like, they'll show people, like, they'll Photoshop pictures of them in a balloon, like those hot air balloons.
you.
And they'll say, remember when you did this? And people will like fabricate memories.
Yep.
It's wild.
But this is
Well,
all
that's
part
kind
of
of
the
where this
same-
phenomenon was coming
Yeah,
from.
but
Yeah,
you can do this
And it was-
in a negative way
and it
too.
was basically like these
convince people that they have
these
fake shit.
fucking psychologists and whatnot, and like basically like televised like guys and stuff like that. Even like these Dr. Phils, and I'm not saying him specifically, but those type of guys, right? And that's what they did, and that's what a lot of this shit is now, and that's what I hate about a lot of this modern bullshit. Because I mean, that's kind of like with the whole Olympic thing, where we've gotten to a point now where we're literally letting people who could basically be a man beat the hell out of a woman in a boxing ring, and we're supposed to think it's okay because the woke mind virus says it is.
Did you
and
see
it's
that
just-
video of that boxer? What's the name of the boxer that everyone was talking about the other day?
Khalif?
He's literally adjusting his dick.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And it just happened again on the fight 2 hours ago, where another dude beat the shit out of a woman and won the game.
Oh,
Jesus
the
Christ.
Taiwanese guy?
Yes.
He looked straight up like a guy. Like, it's literally like strong man. There's nothing there, like even trying to trick people.
Yeah, it's absolutely absolutely absurd. And I blame the psychiatric industry that they just go in different. What was the other thing that? So there was the false memory thing, and I'll think about it later. There was another.
Yeah, we got some
Crazy
other super
trend.
chats to get through here. J Rex gifted a membership. Thank you, J Rex. Thunderstorm says woke seems to be a part of the communist anti-modern art mocked in the movie The Other Guys. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a few years. I'd have to rewatch it again with that mentality. We got Master Clockwork here with $2 and says that's hilarious. Kara is a mean old hag. Who's Korea? Who? Korea? No idea.
I just remembered what I was trying to talk. I want to mention. Remember
Sure.
the movie? I think it was the Seven Faces of Eve.
Oh,
The
okay.
multiple personality movie.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Never seen
Oh.
it, but
So
I
that
know
was
of
from
it.
my era, and when that movie came out, suddenly multiple personalities just exploded, which never
All
existed.
over the place. Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
too.
when it became a
This,
fad
this
because of
bullshit
that.
has happened all through time, and you read the Tavistock cast report from the UK for the first few years of this nonsense. There were maybe 3 or 4 patients that came into the NHS in the UK, and then suddenly it exploded to 7,000 a year. Like, where does that come from? I mean, it's just
A social contagion, and
Yeah.
these people, especially in Hollywood, they believe that but this is the social cause of our time.
It's kind of funny because I just brought up earlier the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, especially the 70s one, really leans heavy into this kind of stuff with the Leonard Nimoy character. Remember with him being the doctor, and then because he's like talking about all the mass hysteria stuff and all this other shit, and yeah, well, of course he's one of the bad guys, but of course spoilers, but yeah.
And doesn't Jamie Lee Curtis also have a off-gas child?
Yes,
He does,
she has a
yes.
trans child. Yes,
Yes,
and yeah,
of course.
that name Korea or whatever was the character from One Piece. Yeah. And then we got Midnight Sun, who says, is JJ still getting $500 million from WB? No, last I heard he only got, I think, like around 200 or 250.
Yeah, here's like the thing that deal. It's not that he got like a check for 500 million. No, it's a deal that translates to 500 million, provided
Performance.
that they will green light and fund every single project that he gives them in a certain time frame. And they rejected all of it, meaning he got the pittance. The only thing that he got.
Here's my guess on how things went. He got because that 250 or that 500 million wasn't just money that went into JJ's pocket. That was money that was supposed to be set up to actually make these shows and movies. Now he got the Batman show done. I can't remember this other show he did, and I think he started on, all that Superman project and that whatnot. So that $200 to $250 million that he did probably get out of it so far is probably the money that was spent on Batman, that other show, and what was spent
And the
on
Constantine thing, the Black Constantine.
there was that too. There's that too. Yep. So whatever he had spent already, and they probably got some of that money back from Amazon for this show, is my thought.
Oh yeah,
So-
Amazon would have to have bought them out.
Yep, that's my point. So
Amazon would have to buy out Warner's entire stake in it. And they probably figured, oh, Batman show, and it's ours. Cool. Which, of course, it's not going to be.
So this animation must have been approved during what, the Sarnoff era?
it was before Zaslav's time. Yeah, this whole deal
Right,
was made, I think,
Sarnoff.
pre Zaslav. Yeah,
Correct.
because he was also working on the Black Superman as well and stuff like that.
Yeah. Black Superman and Black Constantine. That's what he was doing for DC.
Yeah,
A man with integrity that will basically, you know.
I'm almost convinced now that Keanu Reeves might have saved us from that. Even if his Constantine 2 doesn't happen, I think that was part of the deal for getting him to come back for a Matrix movie.
I do hope that movie happens, though, because even though
Me too.
I prefer the Constantine of the comics, or Constantine
British
of
one.
the comics, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, even if it is more of a Clive Barker's Hari Damour movie than it is a Constantine movie. I'll take it.
Is that movie still
enjoyed it
happening?
too.
I
We
thought they
don't
were doing
know.
a sequel.
They were, but we haven't heard anything for years, so who knows if it's still
Yeah,
happening.
and the weird thing is the timing of that being announced is kind of around the same time that JJ jumped from that to that project. So that's why I'm almost convinced now that all the timing of that corresponds with Matrix and all that stuff. I think what happened was Keanu came on board the Matrix. Part of his deal was he got to do Constantine 2. That fucked up JJ's deal, but then JJ gets to be a producer on his Constantine.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to find another cast that was as good, like top to bottom, in that movie. Rachel was just insanely good.
The Satan in that movie was
But oh
really
my
good
god!
too.
And-
Satan
Peter,
on
that last
screen
scene-
ever.
fucking great.
oh
Yeah.
man, and he was just enjoying. Like, he humanized Satan, like he was just a dude, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd never seen a characterization like that before. And then he got mad at Tilda's character. I mean, oh man,
I've got a whole theme park for you.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that was intense.
And,
That's a
damn.
great actor right there, and a perfect
Oh.
fit for that particular role. So Peter Stormare.
Yeah, and he was just in it at the very end, right? That was it. And what a memorable take, though. And Digimon, I don't know if I pronounce his name right. Diamond,
I'm not sure.
Jaimin Honso.
yeah, was just terrific. Like everybody, Tilda just ate the scenery. Holy smokes, she did good evil.
Bucky Cat sends in $2 and says,
Love that
pale,
movie.
male, stale. That's their mantra. Yeah, well, makes money at the box office, though.
Exactly.
Stitch's Loft sends in $5 and says, I worked with Ryan and Blake on Green Lantern. It was cool to see their romance start. They are both incredible people. The movie was the best. Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, he fucked up once. Didn't he do pro jab shit?
Everyone has a few.
Yeah.
fuck ups.
But
Oh,
other than
he's
that,
lefty,
though, I've never really heard anything from him. I don't know. I mean, he's probably a liberal, like most people in
That's
Hollywood,
whatever.
but he doesn't
Canadian,
run
so it
around
doesn't matter.
being a drum about it.
No,
You know, like
no,
compare him to Mark Ruffalo,
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
you know, who never shuts the
helps.
fuck up about anything political.
And
Or
the
Mark
reason is
Hamill.
because he's Canadian. He doesn't really have any real.
Yeah, and even Ryan Gosling, who comes from my city here, you know, he's Canadian, and you know, he's going to be liberal, I would imagine. But again, he's not shooting his mouth off all the time.
And also because he's smart enough to realize that if he does that, he's going to lose half his audience. I really think that Ryan Reynolds is smart enough. Probably he is a liberal, because he has to be in that circle, because you're not going to have much of a career at those levels if you're not. But I think that he's smart enough not to go all out Mark Hamill or anything like that, partly because he would have declined any kind of influence agreement to that end. And make no mistake about it, those people that go out, like Mark Hamill and Ruffalo, they have influence agreements worth millions to do what they do. compensate them for their loss in reputation and loss of audience.
Oh yeah, he got in trouble for that marrying Blake on that plantation. That was so stupid that he even got in trouble for that. I'm sure he was like, who researches the history of some place where they're going to fucking get married? It's
Well, that's
dumb
just the
that
woke
that was
men-
controversial.
Well, that's how bad the woke mind virus is you have to go to that extent to find things, right?
Well,
'Cause-
there's some a little bit more obvious, like the Hadid thing, where she was the face of Adidas shoe, where they were going to resurrect the Munich Olympics 1972 shoe for Adidas. Bella Hadid, a half Palestinian, is celebrating a shoe that was, made when they killed 11 Israelis.
Do you think that she's aware?
No, I don't think she was aware, and she's gotten really mad. And she actually made a very good statement, a positive statement at the very end. And she's a young thing. I mean, Adidas should have known. Why is it putting out?
That's what I mean. Because probably, she and her agents are going to be bombarded with sponsor deals the entire time. I think that simply may have been a matter of.
Yeah, I don't blame her at all.
Probably no one. That could be as simple as people being history lesson. Here's one sponsorship deal out of 1,000, and this one out of 1,000 suddenly had some rather unfortunate historical connotations that are extra unfortunate in light of her background. But if someone else had done the same thing, it wouldn't have been like the same thing. It wouldn't have been, if you had given it to like a French or a German or American, it might not, a European.
Yeah.
May not have been the same thing.
Yeah, but they could, Adidas could have made lemonade out of it by saying, if the Israeli athletes had been wearing our shoe, they could have run away from the Palestinian terrorists.
Oh,
I would have loved to have seen that attempt.
That's sorry, I've got a tasteless mind. I
would love you for it.
But
No worries.
I just wanted to bring up. There's a very interesting. Yellow Flash was talking about. The right and the left in Hollywood. There's a really interesting interview with James Woods, and I've read some crazy tweets of his, but he has this brilliant interview with someone. I just saw it on YouTube by accident, where he also talked about the divide in Hollywood. And he talked about Rob Reiner and how he said, we are probably the two most diametrically opposed people in Hollywood, yet he's a human being and a talented person. And there's no reason why we can't have a conversation together. And he wasn't the crazy person that they make him out to be, this crazy Trumpian. He wasn't. Like, there's this need to try to vilify everybody that's not on your side. And, he has his opinion. It doesn't make him less talented. And it's just a really, really wonderful interview. It was quite something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what people.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that, but my issue with it is it's not so much like, there's plenty of actors that are clearly liberal that I have no problems with because, or I even know that don't like Trump, but sometimes they have good takes. Like, I'll even give Bill Maher credit when credit is due because he's even been sued. I know he's one of those examples, but the reason I bring it up is because he's actually been sued by Trump. So he actually has a personal reason not to like him. And he's even been somebody who's come to his defense at times. But that being said, like, it's just come to this point where, like, with Rob Reiner, I think he's got TDS because he makes me think he's got TDS because of the crap that he constantly does on Twitter and shit. And that he says in the press. That's my problem. Now, again, you're right, Paul. I'm sure that most people, at least 80% of these people, if you actually got to sit down and talk to them as a person, in most cases, they're going to be a normal fucking person. But I've told you this story, I think, before, and it stands to be told again. I remember one time, this is about almost a year ago now, where I was standing in line at Walmart, and I was just having a normal conversation with a lady about stuff, and it got to the point where I think we were talking about the prices of things going up. And I just mentioned something about having more money under Trump or things were, more affordable under Trump. And she gave me this like dead shocked look. And at that moment, she's like, I think I can't speak to you anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not comfortable having this conversation anymore.
Right.
And she turned away from me. It was like one of the most uncomfortable things I'd ever had happen in my life. And it's like, are you fucking serious right now? I've never had anything like that in Wisconsin before. It's like we're a very neighborly kind of place, you know. I mean, like people talk to each other like they know each other even when they don't. So it's
Well,
like that
in
was just weird.
Australia, at one of they have a like an Staples in Australia, Office Max or something. I don't know what it's called, where this Jewish guy wanted to laminate the front page of some Israeli paper, and the young thing said, "No, I'm a Palestinian supporter, and I'm not going to do this."
Wow.
So now that's become big news in Australia, and this is where the world has gone stupid. So, and this is where the young people who are involved in this mind virus have gone crazy, where like who cares? And it's not a paper that's saying, you know, death to Palestinians. It was just the front page of an Israeli paper that this dude wanted to get laminated. Like, but nope. It's
Yeah, probably because
Did you see that there was a clip going around the other day? It's I off the top of my head, I think it was in Wisconsin, and this guy had a Trump shirt on, and they kicked him out. I'm not going to make your sandwich.
It was a kid or something.
Yes, and I'm
I don't know
so
who the guy. I didn't see
embarrassed
him.
by that because normally we're not that way up here, and that's why I was saying it was kind of weird.
Was it in
with that
Wisconsin?
conversation. I think so, and that's why I think it was weird with that conversation with that lady because normally shit ain't like that. But you know what's refreshing is driving down my street and seeing only one Biden sign and seeing 3 or 4 Trump signs in a row.
Yeah, and you don't know why, you know, they want to vote for him. That's the other thing. A sign is just a sign. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't think he's.
And no, I didn't misspeak. They still haven't changed their Biden sign out there.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead,
the
Paul.
thing is, the thing is, you know, I don't think he's intellectually up there, but I've never been a fan of him. On the other hand, I thought his performance at the Black reporters convention or something like that the other day, where he said, you know, a very, very belligerent reporter was just going after him, and I thought he handled himself very well. He said, "Why didn't you say hi? How come no greeting? You just went after me." And he talked about the fact that Kamala, you know, at the beginning of her political career was Indian American, and now she's Black American.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% true. She did.
But
She's a shapeshifter chameleon.
But the problem is, I've been reading the Washington Post and the CNN and things like that, and they all deny that she was doing that just to vilify Trump. And sure, vilify him for the things that he says isn't true. But if you're going to lie about the stuff that he's saying, you're just hurting the cause. Like, I don't understand the point of lying just to support your agenda. It drives me nuts.
That's been going on here for 8 years now.
Yeah.
Just
It's
vilifying
tiresome.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, it
It's
says,
disappointing.
I mean, I get what you're saying. He says wild stuff all the time. I think he's better this turnaround than
I agree
because
with
the
you.
last time I think he turned off a lot of normies. This election, I think he's doing a really good job.
See, because that's the thing. I agree with you, Flash, and that's kind of where I finally made my choice. And here, I don't see him as lying, though. That's the thing, is he will stretch things sometimes. He will tell you some fish stories, like, you know, how a granddad will get a little, you know, just kind of string you along on the story, and he'll embellish and say things sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes he doesn't always have the numbers in front of him either. But he's not wrong. If you go and check into this stuff, it's usually based in some reality. And the other thing that pisses me off more so isn't that so much, because I don't give a shit. He's just doing what politicians do. Only politicians lie right to your fucking face. He, you know, he has been taken out of context so many times by the press.
I agree.
It is getting revolting. It's like, you know, they're out there going, you see, he said it, you'll never have to vote again. That means that he's going to be a king afterwards. He's going to make it to where he's a king afterwards. It's like, no, he's not listening to the whole gall darn thing.
That's why
Jesus.
I make jokes and say, let's make him king.
Like, I know. And that's what I tell people, too, because I know exactly why you're doing it. And because I've had somebody say, well, that's not good when you got people actually on that side actually treating. I'm like, you do realize most of them are joking just to get you.
Yeah, I fuck with people. I post pictures of like this really funny. I think it's AI, but it's still funny. where it's like his hand coming down from heaven. Or I post pictures of him with a crown and shit.
Those are unwise jokes, though.
They are, so I get it. And this is what I'm saying.
There's plastered around the newspapers around the world.
And that's the problem with this, because what he was saying was he was going to fix it so to where with the abortion problem so that Christians would never have to worry about voting again. Right? Because that's something that the Christian side of this vote it's been their main sticking point since the 80s, if not the 70s.
I don't see the point in, I mean, I'm being naive here. I don't see the point in lying about what it is that he's actually said. So you can go right back to that one.
Oh, I see the point.
Comment where he said that both sides have good people, and then that
another complete.
That got taken.
They cut out the part where he said
right. That's
excludes
my point.
The fucking white nationals and the Antifa.
Yeah. Correct, but that is indefensible.
I think that the greater and far more indefensible thing is their main talking point that democracy is under threat. When they
just put a candidate up that didn't even get voted for.
And I've even heard this directly from people I know in Norwegian politics. They're sure they'll be nervous publicly, but in private, they've dealt with Trump before. They're not nervous.
Well, technically, the United States is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic.
It's a republic.
It's really an oligarchy now. So is Canada.
True, but
that's another more nuanced conversation.
That's a nuance and a technicality
that we don't have time for right now. But what we might have a little time for is KS Sonic 1 sends in 5 and says, Yellow Flash, didn't you hear Game Informer is now finished? Sending it to you now, Tom.
Yeah, I said it earlier when I came in.
Yeah,
when we were talking about the media.
It's
kind of sad. Game Informer was... they started off as a video game magazine, and they still were making video game magazines, I believe. Well, so they're the last one to go under.
Wow.
Yeah.
Last one.
After 33 thrilling years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. So don't they have a website or anything? From the early days of pixelated...
Yeah, they have a website.
Are they shutting that down too, or just the magazine, or what's going on?
I have not looked into it yet because this broke like before I came in, but I was told, the site's gone too. Like they're shutting.
Oh wow,
because that's all going down.
That says a lot considering there's more gaming stuff than there ever has been ever before, and all these gaming news outlets are shutting down. Yes and
no. The gaming business has kind of gone the way of building your own PC business. It's moribund. It's not the same as in the heyday, back in the heyday.
I remember, man, it's good times. It's like gaming magazines, because we did, the internet wasn't like it is now. So you were just drool over pictures for months, because all you would see for a game for a long time were a couple of screenshots.
And the beauty was that at that time, there was no releasing a patch to fix a broken game. So the games had to be done by the time they were released, leading to some unbelievable shit, but for the most part, better games.
But that's what I'm saying. There's more games coming out now than there ever has been before. There's more news now than there has been before. There's more successful gaming systems and PC gaming going on at the same time. That's what I'm getting at, Paul, where it feels like when you have a time when there's more news and more things to cover than there ever was before, we have this shutting down now, Kotaku and other things, the problems that were I don't follow the gaming stuff, but that to me just sounds weird. I don't know.
This isn't the only game outlet that's went up though. There's few.
That's what I'm
saying. Quite a few actually that have went belly under this year.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. This would be like at the height of DVD if all these movie magazines just decided they were going to go belly up. It makes no sense. It's you got more stuff to talk about now than you ever had before. What the hell's the problem?
But it's stuff that nobody wants to talk about.
That's where I'm getting to the answer. Yeah, thanks.
So I'm hoping IGN goes under soon.
They'll be the last one because they're gobbling up other URLs now.
Are they?
I think they bought VG247, I think is the proper name for it. Game Rant. I think they bought them and a couple others. So they'll just buy up everybody else, and then I don't know what they're going to do with them. Maybe they'll just all redirect to IGN.
That's what they want. Eyeballs.
Well, is it the woke shit killing gaming, or what is the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will think about it like this: you don't need them anymore. If you really want, I mean, YouTubers are getting them information out
That's true.
faster. And then if you really want to know something about a game, you can just follow the studio on Twitter.
Well, and
You
I
follow
can see
the game
also,
director on Twitter, and they're putting the information out there faster than anybody else can. You don't really need them as middlemen anymore.
I was
You
going to say,
needed them as middlemen before social media was a thing, because nobody else was. There was no way to get the information. You had to get it through them. Now you don't need to really get anything from them anymore, which is why they do a lot of the shit they do with this, like Polygon butt plug articles, like that. I'll never forget about it. That Kotaku article about the guy who wrote. He has a whole article. His name's Luke Plunkin or something. Luke something. But the whole article is about the best way to use a butt plug vibrator with Animal Crossing.
Oh my god.
It's a real article.
Well,
Yeah,
and I can
no,
see
that's-
why.
Was this written by Mercante or something?
No, it's Luke Plinkett. Something. It's Luke P. something. I would pull it up, but there's a picture of a butt plug, and you can get in trouble for that. You really can. They consider it like sexual imagery.
Yep. I've gotten into trouble.
So there you go.
Hold on. Maybe I can block the picture. Hold on. I'll just.
Oh, no, I don't want to see it.
But no, you got a good point there. I guess I mean, it's the same kind of thing with entertainment news. People trust outlets like us now more because, you can't trust the fucking media news because they're just going to lie to you just like the studios are. The Red Dawn Batman sends in $2 Canadian and says, "Hey, Paul, remember Satanic Panic days?"
I
Who doesn't?
never played it.
I don't think it's a game. I think he's talking about the actual era of, the music when it's like, the music's got the devil in it.
Oh, the Satanic Panic days. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I you know what? I remember. And what was it? The president's wife that talked about how rock and roll was.
Tipper Gore.
Tipper Gore.
She had her ass handed to her, or him actually, by Dee Snider of all people, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
that was good. That was a good era.
It's like, maybe there's something wrong with the way your wife thinks.
I blocked out the image. You won't see it. If you just want, like some people say, that's not a real article. Oh, it is.
Oh my!
We're now entering the Animal Crossing butt plug stage of 2022. And the article is about the best butt vibrator and the way to use it for the game.
Wow.
So this guy literally played Animal Crossing with a vibrator up his ass.
Wow.
And then you
I
wonder
could
why
have
these
gone my whole
websites are
life
going
without
under.
knowing that.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank you for the $2. Stitches Loft didn't say anything, just sent in $2. Thank you for the
Yeah,
support.
thanks for the support.
Thunderstorm 4 sends in $4.99 and says, was referring to the coffee table scene in the movies where the other guys and how woke modern art makes everything art. Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. It's been years since I've seen the other guys, so I'd have to. I wasn't sure which part you were talking about necessarily, but I do remember the film, but not the scene. Alec Baldwin's Trigger Finger is here. How you doing? Sends in $10. Says, actually, if you consider President Trump's actual policies as opposed to his off-the-cuff comments, his policies were always more carefully considered and successful than the left admits. Yes. See, and Trump is one of those that he is a bit braggadocious. He does like to get a crowd going, but I have seen him much more measured, especially during that debate. Like, that was actually probably the night he won me over more so. I mean, the shooting was like, okay, yeah, this guy actually is wanting to do this job and he's not out just for himself. But that night at the debate, I think it was kind of like, yeah, clearly this is the better route to go. But yeah, no, I think that speaks for itself too. I mean, shit, I'd never made more money, was more secure. Gas prices, everything, bills was so much better under Trump than ever in my life. So yeah. Then Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank, sends in $7, says, "Rip Game Informer. I think the internet age created an avalanche of unintended consequences. FOMO in terms of getting news is dead because it's 24/7. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And then finally, Accidental Seller says for 50 Norwegian krona, like gear porn, guys love building their own PCs. It comes from the same place as working on a car. It's a guy thing, and we bond with our gear that way. Yeah, can confirm. It's like some of the best times I had with my best friend growing up was when he helped me assemble my computer, because he was better at doing stuff like that than I was.
Well, and your son. The first 5 years of my YouTube channel was actually a Hackintosh channel where I built Hackintoshes and programmed them and showed people how to do it. I had 200,000 plus views on many of the videos. And also I built PCs with my son. I mean, these are things that, are wonderful things to, I would have done it with my daughter if she was living at home.
Well, look, I'll get a little bit more, esoteric with this, or however you want to put it. Look, men like to build things or create things and do things like that because guess what? We can't create life. But we can create a bitchin' fucking something or other if you want it. You know?
This is a very good point.
So I think that's where we channel that energy, and that's where I don't know if women sometimes understand that's why we have such an attachment with certain things.
Yeah.
And I think we don't get attached.
That's something that should be celebrated. But yeah,
and you know what? It's I've never been more emotional than being in the birthing room with my wife for both those kids. Every time I held my newborn son and daughter, the first thing that came into my head was, why does the world allow such evil to exist? That was the first thing that came into my mind when I was holding my kids. So, it's not like we don't have an emotional bond to the babies we, helped create.
No, it's not like that, but we think about it differently than.
True.
Exactly. Like you're going right off your point. I mean, the first thing most men think about when they hold their baby for the first time is, oh shit, now I'm responsible for somebody else's life besides mine.
Yep.
And it completely changes you as an individual, right? Like,
I'm going to teach you how this remote control works.
This is the most important thing in your life.
This is the most important thing in your life.
Once you get control of it, never let it go.
That's right.
It gives a man real purpose.
It
That's
does.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll build the bassinet, the bed for the kid, right?
Yeah, and as Six brought up in the chat, whatever we build, they will decorate. So
that's true.
Women love to decorate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Master Clockwork says, did you hear about Frost quitting Second Wind? I did, because Nick Calandra running the company into the ground with his personal crusades. Is it that, or she just can't get along with other people?
I don't know who any of these characters are.
Was this Frostka?
Oh, I was thinking Frost.
I didn't know she quit Second Wind.
Yeah, which Frost is this now? So who are we talking about?
I think this is Frost.
That's what I was thinking too. That's what I thought.
No. I've seen this. The Frost. This is some dude. This is some dude who released a statement on X earlier saying that he was quitting the company and development of Second Wind because the boss, which I presume must be Nick Calandra, was running the company into his ground with his personal crusades.
Oh, okay. So no, then
this Frost, this dude that's behind this Frost, I have no idea.
I don't know who he is either.
Sorry.
I'm unable to comment on that.
I actually thought it was Frost. Sorry.
No, it's not. No, it's not Frost. Who knows what she does, but that's never that. So
OnlyFans. Tennille says, not so, Andre. Never built a PC. He is the PC. Easy joke.
Yeah, indeed. And when I need a PC, I pay others to do it for me. You can do it better.
Action Com sends in 5 and says, Michael Moore started this mobilize your audience against those people in Hollywood. At least he's the father of it. What a legacy. Is he, though? I mean, a lot of this stuff they tried doing in like the 70s and crap, right? All the way back to like when Brando had that fake Native American lady accept his Oscar. Michael
Moore, like his first documentary about Flint, That one.
He had a few
That was
good
pretty. He exposed
documentaries.
like some shit in that, like when he'd go to those rich parties and they would use humans like mannequins and shit. Like
He really started going off the rails with Fahrenheit 9/11. That's kind of where it
Yeah.
really. I mean, even though he has some stuff in there that was some good points, and he brought some stuff to light, he does a lot of not so much lying, but misrepresentation in that. And then he's gone so far off. I mean, he's always been a diehard lefty. That's not a problem for me. It just he bought into the fucking TDS shit so hard.
As to the point, though, he's not wrong. He is certainly someone that popularized it for a modern generation.
I guess you're right in that respect. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and that's ActionCom's point. And thank you, ActionCom, for that and for the time code.
My point, though, is that has been done before.
Returning. Yes, but with that,
we're on there.
We are caught up, and we are losing panelists. So
let's get out of here.
Where can people find you?
Let's see now. Well, you can find me both on Call Me Chato and on Appalling News, APAULING News. And right now, the XY chromosome boxer has become my acolyte on that channel. I'm doing something almost every day. And
there's a new one now.
Yeah, you got a new one now.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be covering Lynn, but I'll go check that boxing match out. But I've got a whole bunch of new jokes that are going to get me into huge trouble over there. So I will talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful weekend. It's a long weekend up here in Canada. So enjoy yourselves, and nice seeing you, Yellow Flash, and Tom and Andre. Always a pleasure.
Indeed. So
Always
have a
glad to have
great
you.
weekend, and we'll see you on Monday, hopefully.
Yeah. We'll see if I'm golfing. Bye.
Yeah. Well,
All
we'll
right.
see. If you're here, we see you, and if not, then have a great game.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
And Yellow Flash, where can people find you?
Yeah.
Yellow Flash Guy on X and on YouTube, Yellow Flash 2. And Yellow Flash. But that's mostly clip channel now.
All right.
Yeah, and of course, maybe you'll be having some Flashcast or something.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah.
10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Maybe Tom will be appearing there.
And we'll be talking about those boxers too.
That'll be fun. So everyone, thanks for joining us today. Be on the lookout for a new video. Probably tomorrow, I think we'll be having a new video here. And with that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.